What's going on, man? YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all platforms. Welcome to another episode of the NFL All 32, man. And we got the whole ABSN crew here with Rob, Coach Ed, NYG 22 and Popular Opinion Sports, and yours truly, Big Pat Sports Talk. We're going to give you some NFL topics, man. We're going to give you some top 5 draft positions as well in this episode. So we'll be right back after the intro, and let's get into it. So to be honest with you, we got a couple of sacks because of hustle. And
a lot of different reasons is in the past, or if he's still that quarterback that the Browns thought they were getting when they decided to put
shadowing that offensive lineman and waiting for Jaden Daniels to do something. Welcome to the NFL All 32. All right, so we are with the NFL All 32. And first order of business, man, we're going to talk about a signing that happened with the Buffalo Bills. Hey, they signed their cornerback, Mr. Christian Benford, to an extension after losing Rasul Douglas in free agency, I believe. And Christian Benford actually played pretty well before he got hurt. So this shores up the Buffalo Bills secondary for the most part, man. But we can talk about the Bills a little bit here. What do you guys think about the Buffalo Bills going into this season, man? You think they're Super Bowl contenders, man? You think they can actually do something to make some noise and actually beat Patrick Mahomes this year to get into the Super Bowl, or at least get past them this year? What do you guys think about the Buffalo Bills going into this year?
Well, I mean, I think going into this current season, there were a lot of question marks. A lot of people thought they were going to take a step back. People thought that with Aaron Rodgers, coming back, the Jets were probably going to be one of the topper teams in the division. Obviously, with New England kind of resetting, and then, Tua trying to, get his brain unscrambled, unfortunately. We didn't know what was going to be going on there. And it ended up where they actually looked really good. Josh Allen really carried that team throughout the entire season. You had guys making plays, Coleman making plays. How about Cooks, really emerging as a running back for them and being a weapon. And then I think it really opened up opportunities, getting rid of Stephon Diggs and I said this before, I think it really worked wonders for Matthew Stafford when Megatron retired, allowing him to spread the ball around to other receivers like Marvin Jones, and Kenny Golladay, and I forgot who else they had there, but just spreading the ball around. And now you get to spread the ball around here in Buffalo. You get Dalton Kincaid, who I like as a tight end, I like as a player. They took pretty high last year. I think he's got Travis Kelce type of impact on that offense. Got him involved. They got Dawson Knox still involved. So they did a good job of spread the ball around. I think next year, man, I think that's the goal, right? Is to try to go ahead and get over Patrick Mahomes. That's Mike the boogeyman. That's the boogeyman, right? I think, people are saying the boogeyman's dead now because he lost in the playoffs. But to me, during the regular season and in the playoffs, he's still the boogeyman. He still got to the Super Bowl. So you still got to get through the boogeyman, right? So I think they made a nice I know they got rid of Von Miller. They went ahead and brought in Joey Bosa. I know Joey Bosa's a little bit, at the end of his rope, right? But I think they got to really try to get after it. I would love to see them maybe defensively this year, get another defensive player, somebody up front, maybe whether that's a defensive tackle, edge rusher, or even a corner. They definitely need help in the secondary as well. Even with Benford, coming back, he's been with them for 3 years. last year he played in only about 5 games, but he played in 15 games, 14 games. 15 games last year, 14 games the year before that, and only in 5 games in 2022. But you know what? He's got a couple of interceptions, 5 total in his career over the last 3 years. But maybe they take a shot at a guy like who I think could be a good fit there, Trey Amos. I think it would be a really nice fit for them if he falls down there, or maybe a Siobhan Ravel, maybe potentially. So definitely think they should go defense here in the first round for this draft. And I presume it would probably be them and Kansas City in the playoffs throwing it down again. Josh is really, really good, man. I think he proved this year that he could carry the team for sure. He's got a nice $300 million contract too. Got a nice, he got a fat paycheck. You know what I mean. So I don't know if some ownership stake was in that deal or not, but he definitely went out and had himself a nice dinner after that deal.
Coach, what you think about the Bills this season, man? What you think the Bills could do this season with some of the signings like Joey Bosa and those guys?
Rob here, made some very good points. I mean, they have the tools to compete for a championship, not just in the AFC East, but in all of the AFC. So the ultimate is, yes, getting over the hump when you go up against the Kansas City Chiefs, but the separation with Stephon Diggs is addition by subtraction, because now, like Rob said, it spreads it out, but it also allows him to be more effective as a runner. So you don't have to have a top receiver in your ear consistently. Now he can just play the field and take what the defense is giving him and be much more effective. So they have the necessary tools to compete for a championship. I was looking at Benford's statistics, and one of the things that drew me as a defensive coach is the PDFs. When you get pass defense, he really gets his hands in there and knocks the ball away. The last 2 years he's had 10 each year and a total of 25 over 3 years. So that tells me that he's a ball hawk. He's definitely going to get out there and get after the ball. So he's going to be a key component, a key factor to what they do on the defense and help them out, especially if they can get a pass rush and get after the quarterback. So maybe he needs to get a few more interceptions. 5 is about average in my opinion, but definitely if he can get his hands on a few more and make a play, he seems like he's going to be an effective player.
Okay, so we hearing all the good things about the Bills so far this season. So NYG, Mr. Unpopular, what do you think can hold the Bills back this actual season from actually getting back to where they got to last season? What do you think actually hold them back?
Make me the Debbie Downer, on Buffalo.
kind of threw you under the bus, told you, going delivering the bad news.
It's what's always held the Bills back, man. That's Pat Mahomes and them, bro. Like, to be honest with you, I mean, they got a good team. I mean, I think Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the league. And I mean, Sean McDermott seems to be a solid coach. They seem to have kept it together despite losing pieces like Diggs, and they lost a couple pieces this year. But Buffalo, they've got to figure out a way to combat the Kansas City Chiefs, man, because I think they can beat Cincinnati. I think they can beat Baltimore. We'll see if some other teams step up in the AFC. But right now, it seems like it's been a battle with them in Kansas City, man, and they can't seem to get through, man. It's one of those things, Buffalo went through it years ago in the Super Bowls, losing those 4 Super Bowls. Something about this franchise, they just can't get through despite having all-time greats on their squad. And Josh Allen will probably go down as another all-time great quarterback for them. So is Jim Kelly. I mean, that's the only thing I see. Can they get better in the trenches? Yeah, they can get tough on the offensive line. They can get better on the defensive line. They're not bullies out there, but they're not bad, and their offense is pretty dang on good with Josh Allen running it. So they've ran the football a lot better, We'll see if some of their receivers start to step up, like you guys were saying, man. But to me, the main thing is the bully that is the Kansas City Chiefs, and they just in the way. They in the way. I'm sorry, Buffalo.
It's like saying Candyman. It's like saying Candyman 5 times when you get that.
Right. So, I truly believe the Bills are Super Bowl contenders as long as they have Josh Allen there, and they figure out the way to run their offense the way they're supposed to without a Stephon Diggs as being the leader in there. Like Coach said, addition by subtraction. Now, Coach, you got your hand up. You want to say something? What else you want to say about the
I got a question for everyone, because NYG, you talked about Sean McDermott, and he's a solid coach. But do you think he's a coach who, because sometimes there's solid coaches, they're good coaches, but then they're just not the coach to take the team and pull them over the hump and get them to go to the next level? Do you think Sean McDermott is that coach to really do that for the Buffalo Bills?
No, because you can't outcoach Andy Reid.
Yep, that's exactly what I was going to say.
He can't outcoach Andy Reid, and that's the separator right there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think Josh Allen is better than Pat Mahomes. Yeah, Unpopular Opinion Sports said that. I said it. He's the best quarterback in the league. So, and to me, the main difference is Andy Reid versus Sean McDermott. And those games have been close, and guess what? They get out coached. They get out maneuvered somehow. People want to point to the refs, man. But look, these teams have played multiple times, and they lose every single time to the same team. So it's something there. They can't. And coach, you're right. It's you can only point to really one thing that could be a deficiency with them. That could stop them from winning the Super Bowl, in my opinion. You know what I mean? That could be the only thing.
Yeah, I truly believe that's the only thing that could really stop them from winning the Super Bowl. And I just go into the pinpoint what I'm talking about. It's the situational football against the Kansas City Chiefs. Sean McDermott's situational football has not outperformed our boy, coach from the Giants, Steve Spagnuolo's situational football when it comes to ending the game. They were fooled by Spagnuolo at the end of that Chiefs game on that 4th down. They thought they were seeing one thing and they brought another thing, and Spagnuolo has got them consistently in the playoffs, and he does that with a lot of teams. So they have a Hall of Fame head coach in Andy Reid, and they have a Hall of Fame, I believe, defensive coordinator, Steve Spagnuolo. I think he will be the first defensive coordinator to get in there. So when it comes to the Bills, man, it's just, can you win in that situational football? Because it's always a close game. It's always a close game. Just like they let the Chiefs get that field goal in like 11 seconds in that one AFC Championship game when the Chiefs went there. Who knows if they don't do that, what the Chiefs will be after that. You might not see the dynasty. You know what I'm saying? It might be the Bills have that dynasty. You never know. So I do think it comes down to coaching with those two particular teams. And a coach tells you it comes down to coaching. So it is what it is. But that's the Bills, man. We're going to jump into the next team. And I want the opinions of this next team with you guys, the Arizona Cardinals. Now, they signed Old Man River and Calais Campbell, and some of the things the Cardinals have been doing, they seem like they want to compete in that NFC West, but it's just something holding them back. Rob, can you tell us about the Cardinals this year? What do you expect the Cardinals to do, and how you feel about the Cardinals going to this NFL season, bro?
Well, I think the biggest thing was, last year, Kyler coming back from that injury, right, towards ACL, and, he came back and, had a little bit of a slow start, but I thought he was playing some solid football. I think Kyler gets a lot of bad rap, maybe probably because of the Call of Duty stuff, earlier. But I think he's a solid quarterback, and I think it's just about getting the right coaching in place that's really going to try to take them to the next level. And I like Gannon. I actually think out of Gannon and Steichen, I actually think Gannon's a better coach. I think that when you look at just the two teams, I think Arizona definitely played hard last year. They did some good things. I think he's got a good foundation there. They just got to get the players there. So you go and they draft a guy like, MHJ last year. I would assume that they're probably going to try to get another weapon this year, to add in there. I think they definitely need to try to, get the ground game going. I think they re-signed James Conner, right? Brought him back in for a 2-year deal, who's been a good player for them, good locker room guy. And defensively, they just got to improve defensively. They've lost some pieces. Calais Campbell is where he was drafted, spent the majority of his career, went to a Super Bowl with Arizona back in the day. He's going to be able to go ahead and, bring some leadership to that young front, right? They're probably going to, again, could go weapon. They're going to need to add defensively. I think that they might be able to compete, right? I think Seattle at this point, I think Seattle is going to kind of be middle of the road, even though they signed Sam Darnold. I'm not a big Sam Darnold believer. I think that, they went ahead and they paid him. And I think that he was a product of Kevin O'Connell, KOC. I think he's going to revert back to being the quarterback that we've seen. If I'm wrong, I'll eat crow on that, but I don't see him being that type of quarterback. And so, then you lose Lockett. You trade away DK. Now you just got JSN. They signed Cooper Kupp. What version of Cooper Kupp are you going to get? He's getting a little bit older. Probably can still play, right? But we'll see. And that offensive line needs help. They've got some good players on the defensive side, but I can see them trying to take maybe a step down. So they've got an opportunity here where they can compete with the Rams this year. Maybe try to come in second place in that division. I know obviously the 49ers are going to be coming back, but they're losing pieces too. And because they finally got to cough up the money for that quarterback. They've been blessed that they haven't for the last few years. They haven't had to really pay a quarterback a lot of money. Now they got to pay the piper, right? Now they got to pay the IRS is calling. They overpaid. Now you got to pay back some taxes. And that's kind of where the 49ers are at. So I think they might be able to compete, maybe make some hay. It's really going to result on Kyler, and I think he's got to perform. He's got to step it up, because if he doesn't, you're going to maybe start to hear some rumblings that they may be potentially, if given the opportunity and they finish with a top pick in the draft, they may try to move on from Kyler and try to restart at that franchise. So,
yeah, I'm going to put my boy back on the spot. Mr. Kyler Murray. Wasn't he your quarterback in fantasy last year? So, what do you think Kyler Murray can do in this division, man? What do you think the Cardinals can do in that NFC West division, man?
I think Kyler Murray's a good quarterback, man. I think he's a good quarterback, man. I support Kyler Murray, man. Stay off Call of Duty, but nah, man, for real though, man. Kyler Murray is Kyler Murray definitely played well. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. definitely helps. You get a guy a weapon, you see what he can do. He's putting up decent numbers last year. The Cardinals, they finished 8 and 9. They were competing. They were fighting, for a playoff spot there for a while. You just gotta continue to build, with your quarterback. It's not like the guy is trash. If you want to call him mid, but I think he's actually pretty good. Given what he, and you got to understand the dynamics. Kyler Murray's more of a running quarterback. So coming back off the injury, got to give him a little time. He started picking it up last year, so I think the Cardinals, they just need to add more talent. In that division, the 49ers are taking a step back. Seattle, I mean, they're not knocking nobody's socks off. They lost a lot of pieces. We'll see what happens over there with the quarterback change. And the Rams are a problem, though. I will say that. But it's not like they didn't lose Cooper Kupp, too. And they're getting, quarterback getting older. They got an older receiver now, Devontae Adams. We'll see how it shakes out. I think the Arizona Cardinals can compete in this division, man. That's my unpopular opinion. I really do. I don't think they're a bad team. If they go out in the draft and they add some more pieces on defense, that defense wasn't bad last year. They were in some games. They were in a lot of games. They won a lot of games, a few of them. So
that's a fact.
That's how I feel about it, man.
I'm actually going to add to that. I actually think they can win this division. I'm going to ask my coach if I'm crazy, but the things that have happened in this division, the 49ers have taken a major hit. The Seahawks have taken a major hit. And the Rams, they competed with the Rams all last year. I think it's going to come down between the Cardinals and the Rams. And who is going to, finish at the finish line towards the end of the season. I think this is going to be a 10-win team next year. But, Coach, tell me if I'm crazy or not.
No, you're not. I mean, I was just going through the numbers. First of all, with Kyler Murray, I mean, he had between passing and rushing, over 4,400 yards total yardage, 26 touchdowns. I always look at third down and fourth down conversions with a team. Third down conversions, they were at 43%. Fourth down, they were at 44%. So that tells me they can be pretty effective in those critical moments. Third down, you might want to be a little bit better there. But, most of the times, defenses are keyed, and especially if it's third and long, defenses key up and they really work hard to stop you in those situations. So, I mean, that right there is a big thing for me. In terms of those conversions. And one thing that does concern me is they were -3 overall in turnover ratio for the whole season. So they need to do a better job of protecting the football and then getting the ball away from the opposition. You can't be in the negative in terms of turnover percentage and be a successful football program. So they need to do a better job there. Like I said, overall protecting. Kyler Murray had 11 interceptions. So needs to cut back a little bit more. For me, I like my quarterbacks, if at all possible, to try and keep them into the single digits over a whole season, 7-ish, 8-ish. I know some people say that's not reality, but good quarterbacks definitely try to keep them down under double digits. So, but again, looking at these numbers, offensively, they seem to be a productive team. Passing average, they're 7.1 yards per completion. So rushing, they're 5.3. So they have an effective offense. So total offense, they had over 6,000 yards combined, almost 6,100 yards. So Kyler Murray is a quarterback. If you protect him, you give him enough time, he will dice you up, or he'll take off and he'll run all over you. I mean, he had over 500 yards, like I said. So he can get better, and I think if he gets better, this team will be better. And Pat, like you said, they can be competing, if not win this division, because the NFC West, it's open. It's really open.
Yeah, and oh, my bad, Pat.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, what I was gonna say is just kind of looking at a little bit more breakdown of stats. As far as points fared, points they scored, they were ranked 15th in the National Football League last year. Defensively, as far as points allowed, they were ranked as far as they were 9th as far as points allowed. So that's pretty good. Overall offense, they were ranked in 14th. Offensive production, they were top 7. Passing, they were actually top 8. And as far as the rushing, they were actually top 9. They were ranked 9th in rushing. So look, they're pretty balanced, man. Again, 8-9 record. And they were kind of keeping like you guys said, keeping up right there with the Rams. So look, if you can get Kyler, get another good production, you add a couple of more weapons offensively. Defensively, you add some guys, a pass rusher, and another weapon on the offense if you can. I definitely think that there's a possibility where they can definitely compete in this division and be a team in the NFC where, you might be talking them at the end of the year, making a wild card push, something like that. So for sure.
Yeah. So me truly, I think they can win this division, man. You give him an extra weapon alongside Marvin Harrison Jr. There's plenty of receivers out there that you could get in the second, third rounds. Shore up that offensive line in the very first round. I believe they're somewhere in the mid round. What pick are they? I believe, are they like 16, 17? I forgot which pick they are.
Cardinals are picking 16th.
So yeah, see, 16th. There's plenty of offensive tackles that you could get. Go out there, get your offensive lineman in the first round, get you an opposite weapon opposite of Marvin Harrison Jr., and just fill out your roster with some defensive players in this upcoming draft. And I think they can compete. And I think the only team they really have to worry about is the Rams. And that's just a fact, man. I think this team's going to make some noise. But we are getting ready to take a commercial break. And we're going to get into some NFC East talk, man. We're going to be talking Cowboys. We're going to be talking Giants. And we'll be right back after these commercial messages, man. Check out the Draft Journal right here on the Aboriginal Sports Network. And we'll be right back. Welcome to the Draft Journal. Yo, that's the NFL Draft Journal, man. Check out the NFL Draft Journal right here on the Aboriginal Sports Network, man. We actually get to break down film with a couple of athletes in the Draft Journal, and we broke down that film with them, Mr. Corey Chapman, potential third-round pick to the team we're going to talk about right now, the Dallas Cowboys. We all know that Micah Parsons is looking for Myles Garrett money. And it looks like him and Jerry Jones are at a standstill. So we're going to listen to what old man Jerry has to say about the whole contract negotiations going on with Mr. Micah Parsons. Man, Jerry getting old. Look at him.
Jesus Christ. He needs some freaking
Man, yo.
Put some
I ain't want to say nothing, but
he needs some lotion or something. God.
Right. Some cocoa butter. But
something. He needs something.
Let's hear what he got to say.
Idea that the only success is getting a contract done at an early time is incorrect. And I'd rather pay more and get it right than I had pay less and screw it up. The agent is not a factor here or something to worry about. And I don't know his name. And so my point is that I'm not trying to demean him in any way, but this isn't about an agent. The agent doesn't have one thing to do with what we're doing when we get on a football field against a team.
In response to a tweet by Cowboys reporter Clarence Sales saying that Jerry disrespected his agent, Micah posted facts. David is the best, and I will not be doing any deal without David Mulligetta involved. Like anyone with good sense, I hired experts for a reason. There is no one I trust more when it comes to negotiating contracts than David. There will be no back doors in this contract negotiation. Okay.
So that was Mr. Micah Parsons talking to Mr. Jerry Jones after he says he disrespected his agent by saying, man, we don't even know your name. So I am actually on the side of Mr. Micah Parsons because not to toot my own horn, I've actually done contract negotiations with Mr. Jerry Jones and talked to him personally about Kevontae Turpin. That is an absolute fact. So, Kevontae Turpin got a 3-year, $18 million deal, $6 million in incentives for a guy that is the top returner in the NFL and an absolute beast as a slot receiver. But guess what? If they do use him as a slot receiver this year, he's going to be grossly underpaid because that's the negotiations with Mr. Jerry Jones. That's the way they do things over there with the Dallas Cowboys. And I know this for a fact. They're trying to get Micah Parsons at the cheapest deal possible, at the longest deal possible, because he's a very young player. He's an all-pro player. He changes things on the field, but you got to pay CeeDee Lamb. You got to pay Dak. You pay Dak Prescott. You got to pay your offensive line. They need a new running back. They need a receiver too. You got to pay Diggs. I mean, you got to pay a lot of people on that team. And so it is what it is, man. But how do you guys feel about this whole situation between Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons? I'll start with Rob since he's raising his hand. Talk to him, Rob.
Fuck Micah and fuck Jerry and fuck the Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? No, no. Listen, look. I mean, look. The Cowboys are. I'll be honest. The Cowboys are low key fucking like a shit show, and I'll tell you why. Because Jerry running this thing like fucking Kevin Costner was running the Yellowstone Ranch, and that shit about to go down in fucking flames. Okay, so like what I don't get is the operational fact. What I will give the Dallas Cowboys credit for is 70% of their roster is all built through the draft. They draft really well. They find good talent. They do a really, really good job with that. So I'll give them credit there. But when it comes to their negotiations, I think that they're very close to teetering on the fact of like some of these teams, like the Browns or the Saints, that are just offering up a lot of this big money. And what are they going to do for it? You went ahead and you gave Amari Cooper a $100 million contract before you paid your quarterback. Then you went ahead and you paid your quarterback. You gave CeeDee Lamb a $100 million contract just last year. So he got his contract. A couple of years ago, I think it was like 2 years ago, you gave Trayvon Diggs a 3-year or 4-year deal worth about $70 million. And all by the way, arguably a top 2 defensive player that was just sitting there waiting in the wings, licking his chops, knowing that he was going to take you to the cleaners. And I'll be honest, man, I don't see this ending good for the Dallas Cowboys. I really don't. I think that this is a situation where it could get a little bit ugly. Ultimately, maybe they go ahead and they get a deal done, but I think that this is something that could get a little bit ugly. I think I don't necessarily, I'm not going to say to the extent that, that Micah Parsons would sit out, but I think this is going to lead to a point where I don't think Micah wants to be disrespected. He's got a little bit of a hot head, a little bit of a big head, and pause. And so, I think it's just going to result to a point where this might result in a tag, trying to still get negotiations done. Ultimately, if I had to take a guess, they probably go ahead and get a deal done, but I would not be surprised if in a couple of years, Micah Parsons is either traded or he's playing for another team. And I'm all for that because I'm all good with my competition in my division getting weaker. But that's kind of where I see this, this going. This is a team right now that did a horrible job, in my opinion, as far as when it came to the coaching things. Jerry, I mean, you could have, if you knew that Mike McCarthy was going to be your fucking coach, you could have fired him and let him go and got started early in the process. You waited till damn near everybody got hired, and then you bring in Brian Schottenheimer. And I'm sorry, but unless Brian Schottenheimer automatically just starts having a resurgence, I don't feel very confident with that guy being the coach. I don't know what this team is going to look. You got a quarterback that's coming off of an injury. You just paid him a big contract. What is he going to do? What is his offense going to look like? We know them to be explosive. Brian Schottenheimer likes to run the football. So, you don't have a running back. What are you going to do? So, I think this is going to get ugly. I'll be honest. I wouldn't even be surprised if the Dallas Cowboys have a top 10 pick going into next year's draft. I'll be honest with you.
What you think, Coach?
You better say fuck Micah. Better say it.
Anyone knows me knows how much disdain I have for this organization. How I've always said you need to blow this team up completely and then kick them out of the NFL. But I also know that's not reality. Because Jerry Jones, we can talk about how he's running this organization on the football side. But Jerry Jones is running this team as a business, to be brutally honest. That's what he's about. He's about himself and putting money in his family's pocket. Chris Canty says on his show, he always says, when he was there with the Cowboys, it was always about, you could be at practice and in the stadium, but then they're giving tours of the stadium while there's practice going on. What NFL organization does that? That's Jerry Jones running this organization like a business because they charge for those tours. It's not really about the players per se. Ever since he broke up with Jimmy Johnson, we've seen how this organization has failed. They'll make a little run in the playoffs, but they're not championship material. And that's the thing with Jerry Jones. He's not a championship owner. He wants to leave you to think that he is, but he's not. You know, those championships, and we've come to see it now, it was won because of Jimmy Johnson, and everything that he did in terms of acquiring players and so on and so forth. Jerry Jones, for everything he's trying to do or think that he's trying to do, he's not about the players really. And like you said, he's trying to get Micah Parsons on the cheap. Yeah, that's what he's really trying to do. Now Micah Parsons is a generational talent. And you want to try and get him on the cheap. You want to nickel and dime him, but you want to pay everyone else. Yeah, I get it. The quarterback and the receivers, fans want to see that. They want to see the passing, but they also want to see the defensive end get after the quarterback. And what position does Micah Parsons play the most? He comes off that edge.
The quarterback.
And fans want to see him get after the quarterback. And Jerry Jones, you waited way too long thinking that if you're going to tag him, you're going to get him at XYZ rate. Well, now defensive ends are getting $40 million now. So that's pushing the tag price up. You know, so maybe it's time for you to pass the torch. I know you want a championship before you leave this planet. Not wishing that on anyone. But let's be real. You're running this more as a business than you are as a true football team to try and win a championship. So if they keep staying like this, personally, I love it. I want you to keep doing this because I can't stand this organization, but I also understand they're good for the NFL and what they bring in terms of viewership. And just for the record, in my eyes, they damn sure ain't America's team. Excuse my language.
Okay. Hey, listen. Don't have to excuse your language with the Dallas Cowboys. I can't stand them, even though we sent one of our players there, and one of our players might be drafted by. I can't stand them. But NYG, what about these Cowboys, man? You think there's a contract negotiation between Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons is going to blow up in their face? What you think about them, man?
I think it will, and I think it should. Jerry Jones disrespecting that man. Pay him. I mean, like, what are you doing? Like, top 5, top 10 defensive player in the NFL? You pay that guy.
That's a fact.
You pay Dak Prescott. We all know how we feel about Dak. Cowboys fans know how they feel about Dak. You Pay Diggs, yeah, ain't nothing special in my opinion, unpopular as it may be.
No pun intended.
And I mean, yeah, CD's great, you know, right? CD's great, but I mean, I'm not paying him over Micah Parsons. Wow, bro, that's out of pocket. And then you want to say you ain't speak to his agent, and you sitting up there, man, just kind of brushing this thing like, you know, I hope he take them to town on that contract. I hope because they gonna pay it. You think, man, you got to. How you let your best player walk?
Yeah, can't do that, man. Can't
show him the money.
They should they should pay the kicker before they pay Micah Parsons.
I'll be happy if they did that.
Listen, I'll tell you what, for all you people out there, man, might be a little bit of an unpopular opinion. Don't worry, I'll take your name. Okay. For some reason, some of y'all Giants fans, you guys want to pass on Shedeur Sanders, can you want to take, you know, Abdul Carter? Why not get the real guy as opposed to a knockoff? You know, we ain't going to Walmart getting a great value, you know, in Abdul Carter. Why don't you wait for Micah Parsons to hit free agency and go get that man, you know? Get the real number 11 out here, all right? Instead of the great value version.
And speaking of the New York Giants. Oh, man. You see how the call say how everybody start coughing? Listen, there are serious rumors out there. And coming from inside the Giants building, y'all go watch the Talk Your Talk episode with Paul Dottino, P. Dot to the Aboriginal Sports Network, great friend of ours. And rumors are that it's going to be Travis Hunter at 3 over Shedeur Sanders, even if Sanders makes it to 3. Now, this is what you would probably see this draft season. Pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select Travis Hunter, receiver, class cornerback, Colorado.
No, you stop.
I want to get you guys' opinion about this situation here. And since Rob has been going off since the very beginning, Rob, tell us your feelings about this, brother.
Bro, like, this makes me sick to my damn stomach, dude. I really don't, man. I gotta go drink like some Pepto-Bismol or something because you guys are giving me an upset stomach. You know, like look, I don't understand why the Giants and fans and people can want to swing on positions that, you know, like you don't want to take a swing on the quarterback, but you want to replace the corner that you just drafted 2 years ago because you don't like him. You know, you don't like Evan Neal after 2 years. So, hey, you know what? If we can't get neighbors, let's take Joe Alt instead of Michael Penix or J.J. McCarthy. You know, now you just signed Darius Slayton. You just drafted Malik Neighbors. Oh, man, we need a number 2 wide receiver. Let's go get Travis Hunter. Like, why don't you take a swing on the most important position, a position that has a 46% hit rate in the first round in the National Football League, a 46% hit rate. Why not give that a shot? You know, corners have a 38% hit rate. You know, wide receivers have a 27% hit rate. And this is from going back from like 2011 to 2019, right? Like, that's the percentages of the hits of those. And that percentage is based on players that got a second contract from the team that drafted them. And with all respect to P. Dot, you know, P. Dot and those guys over there at BBK, you know, KO, whatever it is, the name of the show. I swear, like, every time the quarterbacks come up, there's no enthusiasm. Oh, yeah, Shedeur, yeah, 4,100 yards, 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. Yeah, great guy. Oh, you know, Cam Ward, you know, real nice. Travis Hunter, what a player, man. Let me tell you, man, both sides of the ball. Oh, do you see Abdul Carter? The pressure off the edge. Man, Membo, oh my God, we need a tackle. Every other position gets hyped up over the position that actually matters. And I don't understand it. I don't get it. It is absolutely asinine. So go right ahead, Giants fans. Go right ahead, Joe Shane. Make the same mistake. You got caught with your pants down last year thinking you were going to take Neighbors and then trade back in for Michael Penix. Go ahead and you want to get caught with your pants down again? Oh, you know what? I'll get Travis. Maybe I'll get Shedeur Sanders at 22 or 19. Take your quarterback. I don't understand why fans are so scared. What scares you? What, you think Deion going to roll up in a golf cart, start whipping people? Is that what you think is going to happen? You don't want him to show up on the practice field or at the game with a Bible in his hand? You worried about that too? Like, I mean, what's the deal? Like, I don't get it, man. I don't understand. Take the quarterback. It's simple. Take the quarterback. You got Russell Wilson. Great job. Veteran guy, most competent quarterback you've got since you had Eli Manning. You got a entertainment guru in backing him up. In Jameis Winston. Go get your quarterback. Dude, what a room to be able to go into, right? You got Russell Wilson that can teach you how to be a pro, watch film with, break shit down like that. You got Jameis Winston that can keep you level-headed, how to be a leader when things are going bad. How to like, you can learn so much from this room. And you got young talent. You've got young talent on this roster with Neighbors, with Slayton, with Hyatt, with Wan'Dale Robinson, with Theo Johnson, with Tyrone Tracy. Go and get your quarterback. We don't even know what some of these players are because we've had Dumbo playing quarterback for the last 6 years, right? Go and get your quarterback. This ain't no difficult choice. This isn't no arithmetic. There ain't no like crazy, arithmetic answer or solution problem to get this. With the third pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New York Giants select and future quarterback Shedeur Sanders, Colorado. It's just that simple. And if you don't and you pass, I hope you burn down. I hope it burns. I hope it explodes. I really do. I want you to be. You thought last year was bad? Okay. It's gonna be bad.
Coach, I see you pondering there, man.
Look,
what do you think about this whole situation with the whole Travis Hunter news? Do you think what? Just give me what's your thoughts about it? You know what I'm saying? I can't really ask.
We've had our discussion. You know my thought on Travis Hunter and the Giants acquiring him only if Shedeur Sanders or Ward are not there. If they go 1-2, then I'm always big on I've been big on Hunter. I really have. But if they're both there, you take the quarterback.
That's a fact.
You take the quarterback. People want to say, oh, his arm, he doesn't have an elite arm. I've been on record. I tweeted out. I posted. It sounds very similar to another cornerback who is a Hall of Fame quarterback. Another quarterback who won multiple Super Bowls. Mr. Joe Montana. Go back and look at his scouting report coming out of Notre Dame, where they said this literally the same thing. Lack of arm talent, lack of athleticism. And he went in the third round, but he worked hard and he showed you that he was one of the elite quarterbacks. You don't need a cannon of an arm all the time. Yes, Josh Allen has a cannon of an arm, but every quarterback does not have to have that cannon. Most don't. Most of them do not have a cannon of an arm. What he gives you is great football IQ, toughness, anticipation, putting a catchable ball to the point where his receivers can catch the ball. He's a leader. As a young player, grown men would follow him.
Mm-hmm.
And here's one other thing. We all know the New York market is tough in any sport on athletes. Any sport. We all are fans, and we're tough on all our players. Shedeur Sanders is not even going to care about that. He's going to go out and handle his business.
That's a fact.
He has a great mentor in who everyone says is the GOAT in Tom Brady. Oh, by the way, go look at Tom Brady when he was coming out of Michigan. I mean, skinny, ran a 5.2 40. Some people even question his arm a little bit. And I keep saying the same thing. But once you get Shedeur into an NFL weight training program, watch how things change. See, I think a lot of the problem with a lot of people when they talk about his arm talent and his lack of athleticism, you're trying to compare him to his dad. You want him to be fast like his dad. No. First of all, his dad did not play quarterback. His dad played cornerback. So, yeah, he needs the speed there. But he's athletic enough and elusive enough. Are there things that Shedeur needs to work on? Yes, of course. People want to talk about, oh, well, it's a hit or miss. It's concerns. Well, let's be real. Every last player coming out, every player is a hit or miss. Hey, do y'all remember Jamarcus Russell, the number 1 overall draft pick with the Oakland Raiders? Or what's it, Los Angeles Raiders? I forget.
That's a
Yeah,
strong
Oakland
arm.
Raiders.
Yeah.
He can throw 80 yards sitting on his butt.
Man.
Yeah.
But
What a
man.
specimen.
the thing with Shedeur Sanders is he has it right here. And as a coach, that's what I want from my players. I want the heart. I want the mental fortitude. I want that leadership skill coming from my quarterback. I definitely need that because he's also a reflection of the head coach. So, Mr. Joe Schoen, you're foolish enough to do that and say, oh, I'm going to take Travis Hunter. And I like Travis Hunter. Please do not think I'm saying I don't. Or Abdul Carter, whoever's there along with Shedeur Sanders. My point being is you take your quarterback. Like Rob says, you take your quarterback. You take the hit. Because that's what you need. In today's game, everyone has told me, Coach, it's a passing game. It's not old school where it was a running game. It's a passing game. You need the quarterback, and then you build from there. Okay. Well, been hearing that you need the quarterback. Everyone killed Daniel Jones. You need a quarterback. Well, here's an opportune time. I've heard, Shane and Dable did not have the opportunity to draft their quarterback. Okay. You want to be awful for Arch?
That's basic.
You want to be awful for Arch next year who may not come out? You really think that's... Go ahead, Joe Shane. Go ahead and do that.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and do that. Let me tell you right now. That kid is a leader of men. And that's the thing. Those players will go out there and play for him. And go watch him his first year in Colorado, getting his ass hammered.
You ain't lying.
Hammered. And he'd get up every time and still go back out there for the next play. So please spare me. You know, you don't like his, I call it confidence. Some of you guys may call it arrogance. I'll take a confident, arrogant son of a bitch anytime as my quarterback. Because guess what? If I'm on that offensive line, I'm going to be an arrogant son of a bitch also. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to protect my quarterback. And any of you son of a bitches that want to step to him, best believe you're going to get something coming right to you. And then on top of that, you're going to see Mr. Dirty, because I'll step on your nuts, I'll step on your face mask, I'll do it all to protect my quarterback. Yeah, Shedeur Sanders is my quarterback.
That's a
no tears, I'm saying it with my chest. He's my quarterback.
That's a fact. Hey, listen. We're going to get to the man that gives no filter about the New York Giants. And that's Mr. Unpopular Opinion Sports, NYG22. So I got to get his thoughts on this subject before we move to some NFL draft news and go to commercial break. NYG, talk to the people, man. What you got to say about this whole situation, brother?
Travis Hunter. That's interesting. That's real interesting. Seeing as you are going to be drafting him to be your what? CB 2-3 maybe. You signed Slayton. You're going to be drafting him to be, I mean, your wide receiver 2 or 3. Drafting him to be maybe CB 3. You can't. This pick makes no sense. It only makes sense for people that don't like Shedeur Sanders. And the Giants and certain portion of their fan base continue to go down this road of, hey, we don't want a quarterback. And what's so weird is some of the fans, that's why I respect Rob, kept it consistent. Some of the fans that would have sold their firstborn for guys like Drake May, for guys like Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, any of these other quarterbacks that come out in any other year, they've been begging the Giants to take a quarterback because Daniel Jones was the worst thing they ever seen. Now, none of the quarterbacks are worth your time. All of a sudden, despite 2 quarterbacks that were in the Heisman race. Yes, but they're not worth the pick. They're not worth the pick, though. Despite Shedeur Sanders resurrecting a Colorado team who was dog shit. Went to a bowl game. Looked pretty good. Not worth the pick. Not worth the pick despite getting whopped behind a poor offensive line and still putting up numbers.
Exactly what they wanted. That's what they were begging for.
Begging for. Not worth the pick. How can he not be not worth the pick? And you got certain fans that got the audacity to compare this man to Daniel Jones? Man, I'm going to tell you what. Joe Shane and Brian Dable, whatever you got to do, you do it. But remember, this is on your record. This is on your record. You pass on Shedeur Sanders, it's on your record. Not that owner, not this fan base putting pressure on y'all. It's on y'all's record. And you know you want the quarterback. You know you want to work with a new quarterback. All these dudes have been following Shedeur Sanders around all year. And you got people talking about, oh, Travis Hunter is the pick. How? Explain. They've been following Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders throwing footballs to Malik Neighbors in the streets. No, that doesn't. What if that was Drake May? Oh my God, they'd be doing backflips. God damn, dude, go get him now, Shane, or we're gonna kill you.
That's a fact.
I know who y'all are. Like, and as far as this organization, look, like I said before, do what you want to do, but you know what the right thing to do is. If you don't do the right thing, that's on you. That's on you, and you deserve every ounce of smoke that is gonna come your way. Fire, hell, brimstone, whatever it is, if you pass on this kid at number 3 overall. That's all I got.
Listen, let me say this real quick. For those of you that don't know, and I'm assuming that this is what this is, Coach. If I'm wrong, please correct me. This man, Shedeur Sanders, 8.7 yards of average per pass.
They
10
said he can't throw
touchdowns.
deep.
10 touchdowns, 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 74% completion, damn near threw the ball 500 times at a QB rating of 168.2. He was number 1 in the Big 12 in completion percentage. He was number 1 or number 2 in most categories in the Big 12. This man also had 100 carries for negative 50 fucking yards. What does that tell you? This man was getting sacked. Oh, wait. Sacked. 42 sacks on this dude, man. 42. I don't get the hate. Look, if you don't like Shedeur because you don't like Dion, say that. I will have more respect for you if you said that, right? I don't have to agree with it, but I can respect it. If you say, yo, I don't like Shedeur Sanders, I think Cam Ward is better because I like the fact that Cam Ward can run in a circle and throw, a football breaking the sound barrier. Okay, I can get down with that. Hell, I'll make a funny joke. You could not like Shedeur Sanders and you can want Jackson Dart because you like the white boy with aura. Just say it. Just come out and say it. But don't sit here and slander him and bring no facts to the table and have no reason for hating the guy other than making it personal. For people that want to say he grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth, guess what? So did Eli Manning. You think his family poor? You think his family don't got money? They sure as hell fucking do. They sure as hell do. The guy you clamoring for, Arch Manning, you think he come from a poor family? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. He's coming in with a silver spoon in his mouth. This dude had to work for every fucking thing that he's got. His dad put him through the fucking ringer to make sure that he was ready to do it. And the fact of the matter is, you know what? Somebody with a dad like that, somebody getting NIL money like that, he could coast. You got a guy on your roster right now, on our team right now, that's kind of low-key coasting. Kayvon, low-key kind of coasting. There were questions about Kayvon's dedication to the game of football even before he was drafted. There were questions about that. This dude, let me explain y'all something. When he got to the Shrine Bowl, the dude drove. The guy drove hours to the Shrine Bowl. When he got there, he didn't go to the hotel room. He didn't go to grab money. He didn't go grab breakfast. He went to the field and he worked out. He got his cardio in. He threw the football. And then he went and made himself available to answer question after question after question at the Shrine Bowl. He was there rooting on guys like Jackson Dart, like Jalen Milroe, like all of these other guys that were there. He was rooting those guys on and made himself available. When people wanted to make it about him, he made it about them. You want to have a franchise-altering player? You want to change the culture in the Giants? You want a radical change? You want to get wins? This kid can change this organization. He's done it to 2 separate organizations. Oh, but R0B, he ain't done nothing without his daddy. What do you think he's going to do without his daddy? He can't do it with Brian Dable. What do you think? His daddy got to hold his motherfucking hand? I'm sorry. He's doing a podcast with his brothers. I don't see his dad holding his motherfucking hand. His dad ain't in the headset telling him to fucking play football. He's on the field doing that shit. His daddy didn't throw 4,134 yards. That motherfucker did. That motherfucker did. His daddy benched his ass because he was late to a fucking offensive meeting. Put his ass on the bench. What do you guys think when you got a coach that's coaching his son and you got 50 other fucking players that are a part of that program? You think it's going to be easy if they even get a sniff that Dion is showing some favoritism to his boys? He will lose that entire fucking program.
Yes, he
He
would
would lose that
immediately.
whole fucking program. I'm sorry. Motherfucker just got 5 years, $54 million. I think he's doing a pretty damn good fucking job.
That part. And for people that saying he's gonna follow Sador to the Giants or the Browns or whatever, I mean, that's showing you right there. You know, he's stepping out of the way and telling you, look, I'm staying over here in Colorado. I got my contract. I'm doing my business over here. My sons are going to the NFL. That's where they're gonna play football. You know, now it's out of my hands. I'm gonna still be there as a father to support and do what I can to help my sons' careers. But I gotta coach Colorado. That's what Dion is telling you. And for all the people that want to keep just spreading all the rumors about him and his children, it's just nasty. It's just nasty. Because like I said in the show, y'all don't do that with nobody else. Y'all don't be doing that with Arch Manning. You know, what makes him different? Arch Manning hasn't even started a game yet. So, like, why is y'all clamoring for Arch Manning as if he's already better than Sador Sanders, who just proved it out there on the football field at a high level?
Yeah. For the people that are clamoring for
Crazy, man.
Arch Manning, you got a little something right here. You got a little something.
So, hey, listen, that was the segment of basically the NFC East, the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry Jones, the New York Giants, Travis Hunter news. Take Shedeur Sanders if he's there. That's basically what we're telling you. Hey, look, we're going to get into a little bit more draft news before we get out of here. And go check out Mock Draft Central right here on the Aboriginal Sports Network. And we'll be right back after these messages. Welcome to NFL Mock Draft Central. All right, that's NFL Mock Drafts Central right here on the Aboriginal Sports Network. We're going to talk about a couple of these college guys that's going to be in the NFL draft. And first up the bat, man, is going to be Mr. Mason Graham. Let's hear what they got to say about him.
Need some sound.
You said there's no sound?
Yeah,
No.
sound.
You can't hear? Oh, my goodness. I ain't not hear the sound.
Mason
You can hear it
Graham
now?
from Michigan.
There we go.
6'3.5". He is 296 pounds at the NFL Scouting Combine. This is someone who has a wrestling background, and it shows when you study him. I wrote the words block, destruction numerous times on my paper when watching him play. He's able to leverage underneath blocks, use his hands, discard blockers, and find his way to the football. His vision and instincts are outstanding. He's able to locate the ball, close, and make plays. The range against the run is very evident. He can make plays outside the tackle box, and the effort is tremendous. As a pass rusher, I still think there's upside there. Continue to add to his arsenal of moves, but has a nice club rip move that he wins with. And again, the effort, run, and pass is excellent. Mason Graham, I think, is a very good player right now, and I do think his best football is yet ahead of him.
Mason Graham making an impact.
So, Mr. Mason Graham, this is also a guy that people would like the Giants to take at pick 3, which I have no understanding of. But not just talking about him going to the New York Giants, what do you guys think about Mason Graham as a player in general, man? What do you guys think about Mason Graham?
I love Mason Graham. I really like him as a player. I think he's got a hell of a motor, good leverage, can get low, strong, power. He's got some moves, to his arsenal, right? Obviously could get a little bit better, but I look at a guy, when I'm looking at it from like a Giants perspective, him being available, I think of him next to a guy like Dexter Lawrence. Man, him getting some one-on-one opportunities with some of these guards and whatnot, or if he's being dominant, getting Dexter Lawrence on some one-on-one opportunities.
From Michigan, almost.
I think it would be a good 1-2 punch. He's good against the run. Can definitely get after the passer when he needs to. But he's a guy, I think, if you want to solidify a front, I mean, I would love to get Mason Graham on this team. There's a couple of guys, him, as far as the defensive lineman that I really like in this draft, but I think Mason, I'll be honest, it might be a unpopular take, but if Shador goes 2 and you're staring at Abdul Carter, you're staring at, Travis Hunter, I would not be opposed to trading back to 5. If Jacksonville wants to, play some ball here and they want to come up and grab Travis, I would be okay with moving back to 5 and getting some extra picks. And you know what? If Mason Graham goes and Abdul Carter falls, great. If not, I would personally take Mason Graham at number 5 and add him to this defensive front. I think it's going to do great things for Kayvon. I think it's going to do good things for Brian Burns. The biggest thing, and who I think it's going to help, is these middle linebackers. It's going to help these middle linebackers. You got 2 guys that can get down the line, handle their gap, their gap responsibility, and allow Bobby Okereke to kind of run free a little bit like we saw with Wink Martindale in 2023 when he was able to make some tackles, 144 tackles with us. I think it's also going to elevate guys like Micah McFadden, who's been a pretty productive player for us coming out of the 5th round pick. I think it would be really good for the middle linebackers. I'm all for Mason Graham.
Coach, what you think about Mr. Graham, man?
Y'all know me when it comes to the sexy fatties, man. You know I love me some sexy fatties. So, and Rob, you made an excellent point in terms of trading back, at a certain point, moving back a couple of spots, and you're getting him and what he does. Offensive linemen help keep the quarterback clean. Defensive linemen help keep your linebackers clean. And that's one of the biggest things. If 2 interior defensive linemen can account for 4 offensive linemen, that is impactful to your defense. It takes your defense from a good, maybe even to a great defense, to an elite defense. Now, Mason, I've watched him. I've been watching some film on him. I've been, as a Big Ten fan, one thing that stands out to me is the use of his hands, man. And once I found out that he was a wrestler, I said, okay, now it makes a whole lot of sense. The use of his hands, along with his feet, but really he has some very good, strong hands, and he does well in disengaging from offensive linemen. And that's what's most important. If he gets double teamed, he's not driven down the field. He plays with great leverage. He at least calls a pile up, stalemate, and force, if they're running back to look for another hole to run through. Or if you're blitzing, maybe keep the double team on him and allow the whoever's blitzing to get into the quarterback. So if you can get him, it's just going to help make the defensive line that much better. And you know what? Dexter Lawrence is elite. You may even start to question if he's playing with him. Could he push to Reggie White greatness? Back to you, Pat.
Honestly, hey, listen, NYG, what's your thoughts on Mason Graham?
Mason Graham, I think if you put him next to a guy like Dexter Lawrence or you know, Chris Jones or who any good defensive tackle like that, I think he's gonna enhance your team. Like I think him in the combination. I don't feel like he's just that player to take over. I don't know. I mean, they had Grant over there. I like Kenneth Grant too. Like that defense was real. So I'm just saying, not to take anything, but you know, I gotta bring balance here. Not to take anything away from Mason Graham. I think he's gonna be a great player. I don't know if he's gonna be this superstar that everybody's projecting him to be. I have questions about it. And the reason is because of that Michigan defense. I know he was a big part of that and everything. But again, you know, you playing with Kenneth Grant, and I think that's the best fit for him. Next to another defensive tackle or defensive lineman that is, you know, really, really good and that he could feed off of, man. That's just kind of how I feel in a nutshell.
Yeah, I actually would think he would do very well here with the Giants, but it just doesn't make sense in the position that we are in. He's a luxury position for us, considering they say we got the worst roster, but when you look at it, he is a luxury player for us. We got Dexter Lawrence. We could go in the second round, maybe get a Walter Nolan or a Kenneth Grant, maybe, or even a Tyleik Williams from Ohio State. Get your quarterback in the first round. But we are going to switch it up to Mr. Colston Loveland. What do they have to say about Colston Loveland, man? Tight end from Michigan. What do they have to say about him? Let's hear.
Colston Loveland, tight end from Michigan, almost 6'6", 248 pounds. He is a long, lean, very athletic tight end for the Wolverines. Someone who at his height and size is excellent getting in and out of breaks as a route runner, which leads to a lot of separation. He attacks the ball with his hands. He's got strong, reliable hands with a big catch radius. He can really go up and play above the rim and win in contested catch opportunities because of that athleticism, length, and jumping ability. After the catch, he can run away from you. He's got some make miss, and he also has displayed a real physical stiff arm to get away from tacklers. In the run game, he's consistent. He does a good job of staying connected. He's not the best finisher. I think as you see him grow and get stronger, you'll see an improvement in that department. But make no mistake about it, Colston Loveland is going to be very quarterback friendly and is ready to make an impact day one in the NFL.
Wide open, touchdown Loveland.
So, Mr. Colston Loveland, fellas, I think this guy could be a very good receiving tight end for any offense. And I believe he can open up any offense that he actually goes to, as far as being that tight end that you can line up in the slot. You can line him to the outside and let him play the X or the Y. He's faster than what I thought when we did his film review right here on the Aboriginal Sports Network with the Draft Journal. Man, kick it off with Rob. What do you think this guy could bring to an NFL franchise, Mr. Colston Loveland?
Yeah, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head, man. A big physical guy that can utilize the middle of the field. Good, strong hands, decent in the running game. Can get a little bit better with the blocking and finishing off some blocks. But I think he's going to be a good physical guy. I'd probably say maybe a good comp for him. I've heard people compare him to maybe a Jimmy Graham, type of player, right? Really big, physical over the middle of the field, uses size and leverage. I think in this draft, up until the point when they signed, Evan Ingram, I thought that a team like the Denver Broncos could definitely be in play for a guy like Colston Loveland. But I think I'll make a quick little prediction right here. I would say keep an eye on a guy like a team like the Los Angeles Chargers.
Wide receiver.
I think that's going to be a team. They need a tight end there. They just they got Mike Williams back, but they're going to need to add a little bit more weaponry to that offense. And why not bring in a familiar face, Jim Harbaugh, bringing in your old tight end from Michigan? I could see that being a nice fit. Another team, I know they just re-signed Mike Gesicki, but keep an eye on Cincinnati. Cincinnati's another team that could potentially go ahead and maybe bring in a Colston Loveland. We've seen dual tight end works before, so that's something that they could do. I think they might go defense, but if I had to make a prediction, I'd say he's going to be in a Los Angeles Charger. Just go back to San Diego, damn it.
Right. Coach.
Fuck.
What you think?
Look, he's definitely a good receiving tight end. I think to start, he's going to be very effective, like Rob said, in the middle of the field, down the seams, create mismatch with linebackers as well as the safeties. But I think also in the red zone, he's going to be very effective there because of his height and his size and his catch radius that he can bring to the table for a quarterback. So now initially he may cause an offense to be a little bit predictable because of his run blocking. Now he's willing. He's definitely willing. So I'm not saying you can't use him, but he's going to initially be a little bit overwhelmed until he gets stronger and becomes more familiar and learns the different type of angles and techniques to use in the run game in terms of the blocking. So in offense, if he comes in, you're going to say, okay, more than likely it's going to be probably 75-80% that they're going to pass. So, but as the season progresses and he gets a little bit better and gets familiar with and used to the speed, then it changes and drops those percentages down.
Okay. I feel you on that one, Coach. I totally agree. NYG, what do you think about Mr. Colston?
I think he's a weapon. He's gonna be a weapon out there on the field. Like Coach said, you're not looking to put him much as an inline blocker. I think he can definitely attack the middle of the field. Offer. I kind of see him as a good weapon for like a young quarterback. You look at teams like some of the teams that may be drafting young quarterbacks coming up here in the draft, or even teams like Washington, teams like the Patriots. I could see him fitting in those teams if they were to take him maybe in the second round. I don't know. He may not get out the first round. I mean, they got him projected to go in the first round, but I'm saying this is a guy that is more like a wide receiver. So people are probably going to view him as a weapon. And I just think a tight end is a quarterback's best friend.
That's a fact.
So
I don't think he make it past the Chiefs, to be honest with you, in the first round, if he does make it that far, because you're going to need somebody to take over Kelsey's spot. And I think he can be that type of dude. You get him bulked up a little bit to make those blocks. I think he would be one of the perfect candidates to replace Kelsey. Not saying he's going to have the Hall of Fame career, but it gives Mahomes another secure blanket at that tight end position. I don't think he makes it past Kansas City. But last but not least, we are going to be talking about the biggest receiver in this NFL draft, the 6'4" Tetairoa McMillan. Reports came out to say that he don't like to watch film, but that was right out of high school and people blowing that up to drop his draft stock. It always happens to the player, but let's see what they have to say about Mr. McMillan.
Tet McMillan, wide receiver from Arizona, is a big, good-looking wideout at over 6'4". He's 219 pounds. The comparison is easy to make with Drake London when Drake London was coming out of USC, and we've seen the receiver he's blossomed into with the Atlanta Falcons. Very tall, very rangy, not the most sudden mover, but very smooth and can really gain ground with that big stride. His calling card is the ball skills and the catch radius. He can play above the rim. He can adjust like crazy to make some insane catches. His body control is excellent. That is what makes him special.
McMillan turns it upfield. Sometimes he just makes it look easy. So physically gifted.
There is still some urgency I'd like to see at times where you could be a little bit more urgent in his release and the way he gets in and out of breaks at the top of routes. But this is a smooth, fluid athlete that it should be a touchdown machine once you get down in the red zone. Just think of a basketball player that can really go up and get the ball. He is outstanding at it, and that will be the strength of his ball game as soon as he gets to the next level.
T-Mac! Oh, man. This kid is a baller. Oh.
So that is Mr. McMillan, and I truly believe that he will be a receiver for a team that needs that possession type receiver, that bigger guy to where you want to throw the back shoulder to, want to take him over the middle of the field and make some high throw catches. And I think he's an inaccurate quarterback's dream. When I say an inaccurate quarterback, I mean a quarterback that tends to throw a little high or tends to throw a little bit behind the receiver. He can make those catches and make them seem routine. You have to work on him about the little film thing, if that is even true right now as him as a receiver. I don't believe that's true, but I do believe that he could be a number one for certain teams, but I believe his career trajectory is to be a high-value number 2 receiver. Rob, what you feel about Mr. McMillan?
I like Tet McMillan, man. Big receiver, strong hands. To me, reminds me a little bit of Mike Evans coming out of Texas A&M. Big physical guy, good route runner. I think he's going to be good for a team that'll bring him in. When you look at some of the teams right now that, I think he's going to drop, but I look at a team like, potentially, could a team like, the 49ers maybe try to bring him in, right? A big body guy, pair him up with Brandon Ayuk. Could they do something like that? Maybe. I think a good fit would be Arizona. We talked earlier about the Arizona Cardinals. I think Arizona would be a great fit. You add him, then you got Marvin Harrison Jr. That would be a nice 1-2 punch for them offensively, and I think would give them some explosiveness offensively. You also look at a team like the Broncos. Broncos may also look into bring in a wide receiver. Could he go there? I think maybe they'll probably go running back like a Marion Hampton, something like that makes sense for them. But other than Arizona, you might be able to maybe make a case for a team like Dallas too, is a team that potentially maybe would want to bring him in. They need that good number 2 wide receiver. They don't really have that. Get a nice rookie wide receiver in there, big physical guy. So it's tough. It's tough. You can even say a team like Seattle. Maybe they look to bring in another younger wide receiver, big body guy to go opposite of JSN, but he's going to go somewhere in the teens. I think he's going to go somewhere in the teens. I don't think he's going to go in the top 10 unless somebody moves up to take him. But big physical guy. I'm looking forward to seeing him in the league and seeing what he does. I think he's going to make an impact, from the jump.
Okay, Coach, what you think, Coach?
T-Mac is the type of receiver who I say is a want-to receiver. All right. And to use a basketball analogy, when you rebound, you got to want to rebound. You got to want to go get that ball. And that's the type of player that he is. Watched a lot of Arizona in the Pac-12 and then in the Big 12 this year. Looking at a lot of the highlights for this year. He definitely is a receiver that will go up over any DB to get the football and make a play on the football. And he's so right when he said he's going to be a red zone threat. Definitely is. There's a little bit more polishing that he can do on his route running, but when the ball's in the air, if that football is in the air, he wants it. You know, and he has that mentality. He says, that's my football. That's nobody else's but my football. So, and that's what I would like to see in a receiver like that. You know, you have that, what I say, that Dennis Rodman mentality. You know how Rodman was when it came to rebounding.
Yeah.
T-Mac is the same way when the football is in the air. You know, it's his, and you know, he's that 1-2 receiver. So,
all right, NYG, we got a Dennis Rodman comparison, man. That's crazy, but that is so true. Dennis Rodman was a master at that. NYG, what you think about Ted McMillan, man?
Everything everybody said is true. He's gonna be that physical red zone threat as a receiver. Watching his tape, I see him struggle to get separation sometimes. I don't see him being like a route guy. He's going to be one of those 50-50 guys. I mean, you know, if you want to compare him to a Metcalf or some, you know, somebody like that, you know, that you don't, you know, he's not going to be, you know, he's going to be routing people up out there. You know, you've seen some of the routes he was running, look a little sluggish, a little slow, not as smooth and crisp, just some of the smaller, shiftier guys coming out in this draft. So, but he's good at what he does. So if that's what you need, go get this guy. You know what I'm saying? If you need that bigger possession receiver that can go up, make contested catches, that can go get you touchdowns in the red zone, I think this is your guy, you know, out of pretty much all the other receivers in this class, you know, as far as that aspect, particularly that he does so well. Because, I mean, you know, they love putting players out of position in the NFL, you know. So, but that's all I got on Ted McMillan. I know people were saying Carolina, maybe Dallas. I don't know, guys that teams that may need. Well, Carolina took my man Leggett last year. So
Leggett a funny dude.
Yes,
funny.
he is. That dude is hilarious.
He's one of my favorite. He's one of my favorite receivers from last.
I don't think he'll make it to Dallas, but if Dallas did get him, that would be a problem. That would be a serious problem over there in Dallas because
Dallas is
combined with CD Lamb. Yeah,
Dallas is picking 12. I think he's definitely going to be on the board.
He might get there.
I think they take Genty, but that's just me.
I think Genty's going. I think Genty's going 6 to the Raiders.
To the Raiders. We'll see.
Either
about that,
I think I got Genty going 6 to the Raiders. If he don't go 6 to the Raiders, he ain't going past the Chicago at 10.
That's a fact. So, hey, this has been the NFL All 32 with your boy Big Pat Sports Talk, Rob Zero, Coach Ed, and NYG 22 Unpopular Opinion Sports. And I am Big Pat Sports Talk, man. This has been one heck of a show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you stayed all the way through, we appreciate you, man. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button for the Aboriginal Sports Network. We do our thing over here, and we only getting bigger and better and badder, and we knocking out the competition. That's what we do. Got the rocky music in the background, and that's what we're going to continue to do. But this has been the NFL All 32. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you for enjoying the show, and we out, man.
Peace.
Oh, if I could find, there you go. So to be honest with you, We got a couple of sacks because of hustle. And
A lot of different reasons is in the past, or if he's still that quarterback that the Browns thought they were getting when they decided to put
shadowing that offensive lineman and waiting for Jaden Daniels to do something. Welcome to the NFL All 32.